This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it is September 11th, Thursday, September 11th, 24 years since 19 Muslim terrorists flew planes into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, killing 2,977 innocent people. That day, we felt rage, we felt anger, we felt fury, and somehow it feels fitting that we are talking again about evil on this day, about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I know Charlie was only one man. I'm not comparing this day to that day, but I am comparing my emotions on this day and emotions of many, many people. It feels similar, not exactly the same. We're not going to war overseas, but I felt watching this thing unfold yesterday, watching the video, which was perhaps the most disturbing thing I've ever seen, I was literally shaking. I know that's just a meme these days to say literally shaking, but I was sick. I was nauseous watching what they did to Charlie Kirk. It was absolute evil in Utah yesterday at 12:20 p.m. when Charlie Kirk was shot in the throat by a lone assassin who is still on the loose. I hope we get him momentarily. I don't think this was a criminal genius. It was not a professional hit. It was some sicko who could not stand the thought of this man making arguments, making a case, debating the issues. You know why they killed Charlie Kirk? Because they couldn't beat him. They couldn't debate him. They couldn't handle him. Charlie Kirk was an amazing man. I know you've heard it all over the last 20 hours, but the man was not hateful. He was not mean. He was not nasty. He didn't swear. He didn't drink. He didn't personally attack people. He debated. He was the best of us in the political arena. He would sit down on college campuses. He would welcome anybody, trans people, gay people, and just angry leftists. And he would say, let's have a conversation. This was not a bomb tosser. He didn't do ad hominem attacks. He discussed the issues, and they couldn't handle it. You know why they wanted him dead? You know why they killed him? Because he was really, really good at his job. He was a master at debating, exchange of ideas. I'm going to try to get through this. I cannot even put into words the anger, the fury, the rage I felt yesterday. I still feel today. This is a sickness in this country. Not only did a man shoot and kill Charlie Kirk, but then thousands of people celebrated. You can see it online. I've been reposting. Libs of TikTok has been doing it all night, posting teachers and nurses and people at the DOJ, people celebrating the death of a 31-year-old man with a wife, two little children, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. He is dead, and they're happy. Why? Why? How can you be so deranged, so sick? I cannot think of an example where someone like this on the other side who would get assassinated, and I would be happy. I would be celebrating. I would post things like we've seen all night, people posting, they're glad he's dead. You're glad? A father, a husband, a 31-year-old man, a Christian, a devout Christian who didn't drink, he didn't smoke. He was the best of us. He was the best of America. He was an amazing man. He was a college dropout who built a movement. And you know what they hate the most about him? He put Trump in the White House. If not for Charlie Kirk, right now, Kamala Harris is president. Tim Walz is vice president. The border is open. The wars are raging. Crime is out of control. DC is still the murder capital of this world, of this country. He put Trump more than anybody in the White House. I'll give you an example. In 2 years, men aged 18 to 21, 29, Gen Z, shifted 44 points in favor of the Republicans, in favor of Donald Trump. No one is more responsible for that than Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk went to campuses. He went into these hostile places where Republicans weren't welcome. And he did it with a smile. He sat down and he said, "Come on up, let's talk, let's debate, let's have a few laughs." He was the ultimate joyful warrior. That's what he was, a joyful warrior. He was not like Megyn Kelly or Matt Walsh or me. He was not angry. He didn't have any vitriol in his heart. This was a man. This was a man we should all try to emulate. And he's dead because they couldn't handle him. They couldn't beat him. They knew what a threat he was. He was going to be president someday. I firmly believe that. He was not. He had no scandals. He did everything right. And people adored him. People loved him for what he was, for what he did. But he was so effective that they decided he had to go. He had to die. This is an absolute watershed moment in this country. The left is out of control. The Democrats are the party of violence. And they will sit there and look at you and tell you, "Oh no, the Republicans are the violent party." They will lie to your face. They know the lunatics are on their side, and we see it. Thank God we have X, because we get to see the reaction from people who are glad this wonderful man, even if you don't agree with him politically, you don't respect the guy who's a devout Christian, raising a family, doing everything right. He was responsible for changing this country. Nobody had an impact like he did. I watched all his videos. They were great. He was masterful. He was one of those guys I would watch with respect and also envy, because he was so good, so smart, so articulate, so persuasive. And they killed him. They killed him. There's something wrong in this country. We still don't know the identity of the shooter. We know from a FBI briefing this morning, he used a bolt-action rifle, one man. He left the rifle in the woods. He left footprints, fingerprints, hopefully DNA. They will get him. They grabbed a couple other people yesterday. We thought they had the shooter. They did not, were released. This guy is still on the run. Steven Crowder is reporting this morning that he had trans messages on his cartridges. A source tells Steven Crowder that they were trans messages on the weapon. If that's true, man, we got a real problem with one small sliver of society, a violent people. Here it is. All cartridges engraved wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. This was reported this morning, a source to Steven Crowder. We'll find out soon. We have video of the shooter running away, I'm pretty sure the FBI will have this guy shortly, if they don't already, and we will learn more. But the shooting of, while it is the most disturbing video you'll ever see, while this act of evil, it just will shakes us to the core. What makes it worse is how so many Americans are okay with this. So many Americans, fellow Americans, people out there teaching kids, nurses in the emergency, people out there among us are happy. They're glad he's dead. I think you're going to see real change. You're going to see people militarized. You're going to see people just hold on to this feeling, this rage, this anger. Charlie Kirk will continue to have amazing influence in our political world. He will affect people in his death. They will remember him. We have so many videos. He has books. He's only 31 and again, dropped out of college. Here's what he did. He wrote 5 books. He had a top-rated podcast. He built a company, an organization, Turning Point USA, with 3,500 chapters in high schools and colleges, with 250,000 members and revenue of $85 million. He had 458 employees, and he's 31. He was not even eligible to be president, but he was, and there was nothing stopping him. He was tireless. He was traveling. He was everywhere. He went into these hostile places lots of conservatives will not go. Ben Shapiro just announced he's canceling his appearances on college campuses, and I don't blame him. They want us dead. I thought about this yesterday as after just trying to make sense of it all. I thought for 8 months now, I've said the Democrats have resorted to violence, and I would be very careful if I were obviously Trump or Hegseth or Vance, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan. These guys, I hope they have a lot of security, but not just them. I'm thinking about Shapiro and Matt Walsh and Libs of TikTok and Megyn Kelly and Sean Hannity. We have a problem here. We have they're like children who are losing an argument and just flip the table over or throw a tantrum or fall to the ground, kicking and screaming. That's what they have resorted to. They cannot win an argument on the issues. They cannot win a robust debate. They are on the wrong side of every issue, including the trans issue. They're losing their grip on people. We're no longer intimidated. We're no longer afraid to say men can't become women. Men don't belong in women's sports. Rachel Levine is a man. Dylan Mulvaney's a man. We couldn't say that a couple of years ago. You get banned, suspended. You could say that now. They're losing the argument and they're resorting to violence. And we saw it on display in front of 3,000 people in Utah yesterday. And you have to ask, what's next? Who's next? If you see all these people celebrating and you're some deranged leftist trans nut, you're going to say, I'm going to go out a hero to these people. I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. Again, I hope security is tight around all of the people I just mentioned. Steven Crowder. I mean, who's next? Think of what we've lived through just the last few years. Just this year, in 14 months, they tried to kill Trump twice. They shot a healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, in the back. And then they made a hero out of Luigi Mangione. In California, they named a bill after Luigi Mangione to honor him for shooting a man, a father of 2, in the back in New York City. They killed Corey Compatore. They almost killed Trump. Trump was inches away from ending up the same way Charlie Kirk did. They killed 2 embassy employees in cold blood in D.C., shot them dead because they're Jewish. They set Teslas on fire. Hell, the George Floyd riots killed 25 people, injured 2,000 cops. They are the party of violence, and they will look you in the eye and tell you that's not true. Get Seth Moulton. This is this morning. Congressman Seth Moulton goes on TV, goes on CNN, and tells you, oh no, the violence is all coming from the right. This is what Jasmine Crockett says in AOC. They are just flat out lying to you. They won't even address the problem they have in their own party, among their own people. Listen to the flat out lies from Congressman Seth Moulton today. Go ahead.
By and large, saying we all need to turn down the rhetoric. So let's be serious about where this violence is coming from. Of extremist violent attacks in America, extremist violent murders, 76% are from right-wing extremists, 4% are from left-wing extremists. I condemn that 4%. But we also need to be honest about, as a nation, about where this violence is coming from. And oh, by the way, it's probably an appropriate time to talk about guns, too.
Oh, shut up.
You hear a lot of conservatives saying, hey, the only thing we need to do here is get more guns on the street. That's not going to solve this problem.
Oh, you are such a shut up. Oh, God, I can't do this. I'm not supposed to yell, Ironhead. You can't let me yell. I want to yell. I want to yell in his face. I want to tell him what a liar he is. God knows the host won't call him out. 4% of the violence comes from the left? Where'd you come up with that, Seth? You scumbag, you liar, you fraud. 76% from the right. Okay, let's talk. I'll tell you, this healthcare CEO, that came from the left. The 2 Jewish people in D.C., that came from the left. Corey Kopatore, killed by the left, by an anti-Trump kid we know nothing about, who burned the Teslas, who burned the country in Summer of Love. Who was that? Seth Moulton, you liar. And he says Republicans want to put more guns on the street. Well, what Republican ever said that? He was shot with a bolt-action rifle. You really think you can have gun control to get rid of bolt-action rifles? They're just so disappointed it wasn't a AR, so they could say, we got to get weapons of war. No, it was a hunting rifle. It was an accurate bolt-action rifle, and he took one shot and he killed him. And they're going to say the violence comes from the right? What? These people are just deranged. Again, it feels like we're crossing the Rubicon. We are exposing the savage tendencies of the people who can't handle Trump's America. They can't look at people like Charlie Kirk, who support Trump, who helped get Trump get elected, and they want them dead. It is remarkable. I sat there yesterday and watched way too much cable news and way too many videos online. I couldn't help it. I was riveted. I was sick. I was shaking. I was angry. And I had to watch MSNBC as we're waiting. We're pretty sure Charlie Kirk is dead at this point. We saw the video. Everybody online knew it was only a matter of time before they announced Charlie Kirk had passed. Donald Trump made the announcement on True Social. That's where I learned about it. I'm texting with everybody. I'm texting with Ironhead, and we're talking about how graphic and nauseating the video was. And the people on MSNBC thought, you know what? You know who's to blame? You know who's really to blame? Charlie Kirk. Yes, this was a show. As we were waiting yesterday afternoon on MSNBC, Katie Tur and Matthew Dowd, an absolute piece of shit, went on MSNBC. And first he speculated that maybe he was shot by a fan who was shooting a gun in celebration. If that's not insane enough for you, he goes on to say, hateful words lead to hateful actions. I can't tell you how much this infuriated me. First of all, even if there were hateful words, that doesn't justify hateful action, but there weren't. Charlie Kirk was the least hateful guy you would ever see, ever watch. There was no hate in his heart. He was a devout Christian. He did not hate anybody. I hate people, and I really, really hate Matthew Dowd. Let's watch this, and then I'll get to the good news. We need some good news, but go ahead.
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt,
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
That was said on MSNBC yesterday, that you must expect hateful action because of your hateful words. A person said that on MSNBC, and that host nodded along after saying, of course, that it might have been a fan just shooting a gun in celebration, shot him in the throat. Good analysis there. The good news is MSNBC fired that scumbag. Matthew Dowd is no longer. That's how bad that was, that MSNBC dumped his ass last night, putting out some ridiculous statement on there. Here's how they fired him. They have a small Twitter account, MSNBC Public Relations, with 23,000 followers. They put it out on that. Their big account has 5 million followers, and they didn't put it on that. That's how MSNBC reacted to that. That was the beginning of a long day of absolute insanity from the left. And we don't have time to go over all the insane reactions from these deranged nihilists, these people who just hate, just hate. The hateful words are all coming from the left, yesterday and today. They hated Charlie Kirk. They don't even know why. Matthew Dowd doesn't know what Charlie Kirk does. He doesn't understand. He just assumed, oh, he's a Trump guy. Oh, he must be hateful words. There were never any hateful words from this man. In fact, he had the thing that impressed me the most about Charlie Kirk. I've never heard anybody with an encyclopedic knowledge of the Bible like Charlie Kirk. He could recite verse after verse. He was remarkable. We do have a clip. If you're not really familiar with Charlie and how brilliant he was, there's one clip that it's amazing. The guy was amazing. He just could just bring it off the cuff. I mean, he was obviously a prolific writer and podcaster, but just sitting here he is, asked a question and about the religious foundation, the Judeo-Christian foundation of this country. And he just casually explains it in 90 seconds. This is what he did every day, and he was remarkable. Play it.
Our country was founded on common law because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times in the Constitution. It doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. In almost every single one of the original state constitutions, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. You asked about common law. Well, let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, which is the idea of blind justice, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal, neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, which is the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas, but more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
Just amazing. A college dropout. Joy Reid went to Harvard. This guy dropped out of college and built a movement. And I'll say it again. They couldn't beat him. They couldn't debate him. They couldn't handle him. They had to kill him. This is a moment. This is a moment, a red line we have crossed, and it's going to get worse. I think our side is going to remain vigilant and angry and furious and emboldened to fight. And they are going to resort to violence because they can't win a battle of ideas. So yesterday, if you were online like I was, you saw them over and over again. People online, on video, celebrating, joyful, thrilled that these two little kids lost their father, that this young woman, Erica, lost her husband, that this great man lost his life on video for all the world to see. And they were thrilled. It's sick. I want to play one reaction because it's a teacher in Massachusetts in Framingham, an elementary school teacher. Right now, as I speak, this woman is in front of a bunch of 10-year-olds. If I'm a parent in Framingham, I'm a little concerned. This sick, twisted, demonic woman is absolutely giddy that Charlie Kirk is dead. Watch this.
God bless America.
She's doing that in a bar in front of a TV where Kirk, where they're reporting Kirk's death, and she's singing and she's thrilled and she's teaching your children this morning. I want to get her name. Get her name for me, Ironhead. We need to call these people out. That's one. There are literally hundreds and hundreds. Her name is Samantha. I want to get this right. Marengo. She posted that. Look at her bio. Donations for abortions in her bio. Special education teacher. She's teaching special needs kids today, right now. This woman who is giddy, celebrating, drunk, because Charlie Kirk is dead. And that's one of thousands. If she's not fired by the end of today, we're going to just do this every day. We're going to call her out every day. This sicko should be nowhere near children. We must push back. We must fight this, expose this, repost this. If you see it, go to Libs of TikTok. They're all there, one after another, celebrating the death of a young father. Charlie Kirk was going to be around for the next 50 years, influencing people, persuading people, making a case with a smile on his face. He was going on to great things. There was nothing stopping him. He was tireless. He had so much energy, so much drive and determination. He knew everyone and everyone loved him. He was going to be president. This in some ways is more devastating than if they had taken out Trump or Vance or Stephen Miller or Rubio. He was going to be around. He for decades, changing minds, winning over hearts. This, I'll give him credit. If you were going to take out one person on the other side, you couldn't have found a more effective spokesman, a more effective person than Charlie Kirk, and they killed him. It's just so sick. And in Congress yesterday, tells you all you need to know about Democrats, about the party of Seth Moulton and Chris Murphy, these scumbags who are lying to you today about who's the violent party. I believe Anna Paulina Luna from Florida called for a moment of silence and a prayer, asked Mike Johnson to have a moment of silence and a prayer for Charlie Kirk. Listen to how the Democrats react. Go ahead.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
Some of them don't even rise. Are they still there sitting down? Look at that. These are disgusting people. You know what Charlie posted recently? We talked about it in the spring. A poll. 55% of Democrats would approve of an assassination of Donald Trump. Think we would be better off if he were dead. 48% said the same of Elon Musk. 34% of college students say violence for political ends is acceptable. That's where we are in this country. One party is embracing violence and celebrating the death of this wonderful young man. This week, Again, it's 9/11. We remember that day vividly. I was on the air when it happened, watching live. We made the announcement to a number of people, and lots of them remember it to this day. It's also the week we saw Irina Zarutska murdered. It happened on August 22nd, but we saw it this week. Without that video, you'd know nothing about her. If the mainstream media had their choice, you would know nothing about her, but you do. We saw her die on video. We saw Charlie Kirk die on video. This feels like things have changed. We have crossed that line, again, crossed that Rubicon. Things have changed. I think people, good people, decent people, not that teacher, not Chris Murphy or Seth Moulton, good, decent people are going to hold on to that rage. They're going to hold on to this anger. And we are going to push back. There's no longer there's going to be any rationalizing, blaming rhetoric. No, one side has taken up arms. One side has decided they can't win in a battle of ideas, so they'll get violent. Here's Trump talking this morning on the 21st anniversary of the worst attack on our shores ever.
This is actually him talking about Charlie Kirk this morning, and he's.
I want everybody to mention Charlie Kirk every day. We cannot forget. Kudos to the New York Yankees, by the way, who paid tribute to Charlie Kirk at Yankee Stadium last night. Put him up on the big screen. Had a moment of silence. You think the Red Sox are going to do that? We'll see. Every team should do that. Every NFL team should do that. This was a great man, and they can't pay tribute to him enough. Is Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be amazing. J.D. Vance canceled his appearance in New York City for the 9/11 commemoration to go to Utah to be with Charlie's widow, Erica, and his children who were there yesterday. God, like this poor woman. She has to lose her husband, and she has to listen to, hopefully she's not online. Hopefully she's not watching MSNBC or CNN, but she has to listen to people justify this, rationalize this. She has to hear from these sickos today. I can't imagine the pain that poor woman is going through. I couldn't sleep. I know lots of you couldn't sleep. I know you woke up today just still angry, just still enraged at this. And we should be. Hold on to that. Push back on this. Call out scumbags like Chris Murphy and Seth Moulton and Matthew Dowd. These awful, horrible people who are happy today. One of the great voices from the right, one of the most effective advocates for Trump is dead. They killed him. Have we got any news on the killer? Have we got him yet? Ironhead, I'm looking.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. It's going to happen in the next few hours. It's going to happen. The FBI gave a really good, comprehensive briefing this morning. They have lots of evidence. They're going to find him. And if Steven Crowder is right and he was doing this for the trans issue, then man, we got a real problem in this country, a real problem with a small fringe of people who've decided to take up arms and get violent. But I should wrap this up. I hope people get to know Charlie. If you didn't know Charlie, if you didn't know his work, if you didn't see his videos, didn't read his books, you should. He was amazing. I can't say enough how much I enjoyed watching him in these debates. He was fearless. I'm not sure anybody else out there is going to be fearless. This is what happens to a fearless, joyful warrior. They took him out. They took him out because they couldn't handle him. He was so good at his job. He was so effective. He was so smart. He was so well-spoken that they shot him in the throat. They shot him in the neck and killed him instantly. I guess that's the good news. He didn't have to suffer. Yes, the killer is still at large. They have video. They have footprints. They have fingerprints. They have the gun. They haven't got him yet. They're going to get him any moment now, and we will learn more. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. We are going to see this again. God, watch out for Trump and Vance and Rubio and also Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder. I hope their heads are on a swivel. I hope they have the security. I know Charlie had a lot of security, but he did what he does. He goes out and he takes on these crowds, and he did it every day. He took a chance. He knew. James Woods boasted that he had dinner with Charlie a number of times, and he knew him, and he was scared. He was worried for Charlie because he was so fearless, because this is what he did. He went into the belly of the beast. He took on all comers, and he was brilliant. And now he's dead. And now everything changes. Hopefully we mean it this time. Things have to change. We didn't mean it on 9/11. On 9/12, we said that we'll never forget. And now in New York City, they're about to elect a jihadist communist, a guy who supports the pro-Hamas maggots that march through New York City with Hamas flags, a guy who will not globalize the Intifada, a guy who has surrounded himself with people who are happy on 9/11. That's the next mayor of New York City. Yes, we forgot. We did. We forgot the lessons of 9/11. New York City forgot. And maybe it's because of all the young people who weren't aware, who weren't affected that day. But it is scary that we're about to elect a Muslim fanatic mayor of New York City, where 3,000 people perished. It's sick. We forgot. Hopefully we will not forget this. Hopefully we will understand what we're up against. Violent fanatics, nihilists who don't care, who have no respect for human life, anti-humanists, people who think the answer when they're losing the debate is to take up a gun and kill. That's what we're looking at now. That's what we're dealing with now. It is time to wake up. They think that this will get us to cower and curl up at a ball and not go out there and fight. They're wrong. I think people are absolutely energized and mobilized and militarized and ready for a fight. But we will see. We will see. But that will do it for today. God bless Charlie Kirk, his wife, his kids, his parents, his family, his friends. And he had a lot of them, man. And hopefully people will continue to carry on his message. I don't think anyone does it as well as he does. In fact, I know they don't. He was the best at it. He was the best of us. And now he's dead. God, what a shame. What a sad, sad day. What a sad, sad state. But that will do it for today. I made it through. I didn't yell. You were supposed to not let me yell. I guess you didn't let me yell. But we'll see when we'll see how I hold up. We'll see when we will do it again. We'll let you know. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again soon.